Good one.
This is a story where a car takes on greater intelligence. Acquires the ability to provoke and inspire. And ultimately, learns how to make the heart race. An entirely new ES, the Lexus ES 350.
Kerr-McGee delivers America's oil and gas where it wasn't possible or practical before. Like deep in the Gulf of Mexico, where Kerr-McGee platforms team with marine ecosystems. And in Utah's vast Uinta Basin, where production leaves wildlife undisturbed and blends into the landscape. From deep water to mountaintops, Kerr-McGee's delivering energy for Americans. Kerr-McGee, explore more.
Welcome back. Less than 6 months before congressional elections, Democrats probably feeling heartened right now by our new poll numbers. Take a closer look at it once again. Democrats have a 14-point lead over Republicans among registered voters asked about their preference for Congress. Our senior analyst, Jeff Greenfield, is taking a closer look at the battle for control of Capitol Hill. Jeff?
Wolf, by every traditional standard, historical patterns, the president's low approval ratings, current congressional polls, the Democrats ought to feel optimistic about taking back both houses of Congress. But look more closely at the Senate, and you'll see why that optimism may be premature. In the Senate today, there are 55 Republicans, 44 Democrats, and 1 independent who lines up with the Democrats. To take the Senate, Democrats need to win 6 seats. Their targets include Pennsylvania, where pro-life Democrat Bob Casey now leads Senator Rick Santorum. Rhode Island, where maverick Republican Lincoln Chafee faces both a primary fight and a heavily Democratic electorate. Montana, where Senator Conrad Burns faces questions about his ties to lobbyist-turned-felon Jack Abramoff. Ohio, where Senator Mike DeWine may be burdened by a state Republican Party tainted by scandal. Tennessee, where Senate Majority Leader Bill Frist is retiring. The likely Democratic contender, Representative Harold Ford, could benefit from a divisive GOP primary. Democrats are also eyeing Missouri and Arizona as possibilities to complete that six-pack. But this math assumes Democrats will hold all of their seats, and that may not be so easy. Consider New Jersey, where a Republican hasn't been elected to the Senate in 34 years. Democrat Robert Menendez, appointed by now Governor John Corzine to fill Corzine's Senate seat, is trailing in the polls behind Tom Kean Jr., son of a popular former liberal Republican governor. Look at Maryland, which hasn't elected a Republican to the Senate in 26 years. There, Lieutenant Governor Michael Steele has a chance of running a very competitive race to replace retiring Democrat Paul Sarbanes, especially if a bruising Democratic primary fight between Representative Ben Cardin and ex-NAACP Chief Kwesi Mfume leaves the party split. A footnote, back in 2002, Maryland elected its first GOP governor since Spiro Agnew in 1966. Or look at Washington State, where Senator Maria Cantwell faces a well-financed challenger in former Safeco CEO Mike McGavick. Or Minnesota. That state is a lot less blue than it once was. George W. Bush narrowly lost the state twice, and Republicans are unified behind Representative Mark Kennedy against likely Democratic nominee Amy Klobuchar. One more point about the Senate. Back in '94, the Republicans won it by winning 6 open seats that had been held by retiring Democrats. But this year, there's only 1 open GOP seat that can really be called competitive, Tennessee. So, to win the Senate, Democrats will have to beat at least 5 incumbents, which is usually a tougher task than picking up an open seat. That's why the Democrats' chances in the House, with a number of vulnerable Republicans in the blue states of New England, may be a better bet. Assuming, of course, you're foolish enough to bet on an election that's 6 months away. Wolf?
Jeff Greenfield, excellent report. Coming up, our new poll shows President Bush isn't getting any credit for improvements in the economy. Is there anything he can do to get his numbers up or to give congressional Republicans a lift? Some Republicans hope tax cuts will give them a break with voters. Will that do the trick? Tough political questions for Babe Buchanan and Donna Brazil. They're standing by in our strategy session. Stay with us. You're in the Situation Room.
Will you be hauling 7 tons of sheet metal? Or 70 pounds of plywood? 12,000 pounds of cattle? Or a little something? For
for a do-it-yourself job. We can't be certain how you'll use your GMC Sierra heavy-duty pickup, so we engineered it with the most available horsepower and torque in its class. GMC, engineered to the highest standard, professional grade.
Millions of women who smoke put off quitting for fear of gaining weight. The Commit 4 milligram lozenge can help you gain less weight while you use it to quit smoking.
I know, I'm a horrible person for not moving my old 401k, but digging out the paperwork, filling out the application, picking the right investments, the thought of it exhausts me. And with everything going on at work, the last thing I need is a second job.
Head On.
I just bought Head On at the drugstore.
What's Head On?
You've never heard of Head On?
Should I know about Head On? Head On is available without a prescription at retailers nationwide.
What can you expect from a world-leading bank? That we provide the brain and brawn to help you succeed. With passion for your company, for your investments, for everything that's important to you. Expect the better solution. Deutsche Bank, a passion to perform.
Today in our strategy session, more poll numbers that are giving Republicans cause for deep concern. Will the GOP be able to rebound in time for the November elections? Joining us now, our CNN political analyst and Democratic strategist, Donna Brazile, and Babe Buchanan, the president of American Cause. Here are some of the numbers that have come out. The New York Times CBS poll, Bush's job approval at a record low 31%. Approve of the way he's doing his job, 63%. Disapprove. The New York Times CBS poll. The question is the U.S. today better or worse off than it was before President Bush became president? Look at this, Bay. Only 14% believe that the United States is better off today than it was before he became president. 68% believe the country is worse off right now. Those are enormous challenges for the Republicans.
Well, clearly the president has a real problem right now, and he's
the president doesn't have to worry about getting reelected, but Republicans do.
They do, and if you want to talk 2006, clearly what the Republicans in the House are going to have to do is separate themselves from the president. They're going to have to do some bold legislative proposals, put on the table, pass them, so that they can define themselves as something different than the president. Clearly on immigration, they already have done so in December, passed a tough enforcement bill. They're going to have to introduce that again if nothing comes through in the next couple months, so that we really put the Democrats on the record as on the wrong side of immigration, put them on the right side of immigration. Taxes, this tax cut's very smart. They've got to get their base back, Wolf. They've got to get their base energized, make certain it votes. I think they can do it at 6 months, but if they don't do anything, there's going to be a tsunami wave come across and knock out a number of those Republicans.
Don, it's always hard for Republicans or Democrats to go against their same party president. It would be very hard for these Republicans on the Hill to distance themselves, as Bay is suggesting, from President Bush.
They've been in a long-term romance with the president, and for 5.5 years, they practically have done everything that the White House has told them to do. They've been a rubber-stamp Congress, and I think for the Republicans now to all of a sudden distance themselves or to separate from the commander-in-chief, that would be just as much of a mistake as standing with the president. Look, the Republicans have no ideas. They've run out of ideas, and the reason why the American people are now voting with no confidence in the polls is because they don't believe the Republican Party have any solutions, and they're ready for a change.
But Wolf, if you read those polls, they also don't believe the Democrats have any solutions. They are not happy. We can do a better job. They're not happy with Congress at all. And indeed, as a one of the part two.
Let me show you some of these poll numbers. New York Times CBS poll: Congress job approval. Remember, this is a Republican-led House and Senate. 23% approve of the way Congress is doing its job. 64% disapprove. Now you break it down. Which party is doing a better job? For example, on Iraq, 30% say Republicans doing a better job, 48% say Democrats. Which party is doing a better job on gas prices? 11% say Republicans, 57% say Democrats. Which party has a better job? Which party shares your moral values? Normally a Republican stronghold. 37% say Republicans, 50% say Democrats. Those numbers must be eye-opening and startling for Republicans.